In this video, I will explain how to configure Python, PyCharm, and also Cloud IDE. So we will see that how to configure all this. So the first thing, we have to install Python. You need to go to this URL. Go there. First step, download Python. I've already downloaded. So this is the first thing. And I'll go to my downloaded located. And this is my location. Run it. Simple, I'm not running as administrator. So if you have any issues, then only we have to choose run as administrator. But just running as it is. So in Windows 10, by default, it asks us to choose install anyway. So I'm selecting this path as well, add Python 3.8 to path. Path means it is going to get added in the path variable. So select that and then click on install now. So no changes. Click on yes. So just wait for completion of installation. So there are no other settings we'll be selecting as part of this. Python by default downloads 32-bit version. So 32-bit, 64-bit machines support 32-bit as well. So no need to worry about it. By default, it gives us 32-bit. If you wanted to specially install 64-bit, yes, you have that feature as well. Here you need to select Windows, and here you can find x86 64. This is executable installer, and this becomes 64-bit. So you can see that x86 is 32-bit and x86 64 is the 64-bit installer. So you can choose that. Okay. Yes, Python is installed. How can we verify that? So go to run cmd, and here I will use py version. So it shows 3.8. So if it shows this one, that means it is installed. Now, so where it is installed? So by default, it is. In the beginning, we have selected, select path, and because of that, you can observe system.cpl. So this is like selecting environment variables under path variable. You can observe that by default it is created. So by default, it is it created some path for Python. Yes, here you can see that Python path. So I've selected that. Or else you don't need to go there. So there is another way of doing it. So if you use where Python, so it gives you some path here. So this is the path. Copy, enter is copy. Okay. And I'm going to run. You can see that this is the place where it installed. So you can have multiple versions, and this is how it is installed. Yeah, let it keep like that. So the second step is to install PyCharm. So we have completed all these steps, right? Select that path, and all these steps are completed. And the second step is going to be installing PyCharm. PyCharm is an IDE. If you have an IDE, you can able to write programs by following syntax. It gives you syntax, it gives you suggestion, it gives you many things. So you can able to have all the features while you're developing the code. Instead of writing in Notepad, you can write in PyCharm. So they are providing two versions: Professional Edition and Community Edition. So Community Edition is free; you can download it. So I've already downloaded. Execute. So again, I'm not running as administrator. I'm running as usual. It will ask me, you wanted to run it. So it's like security check kind of thing done by Windows. So this is not there in Windows apps list. You want to install, that means in future everything will come through Windows apps list. Run it, and I'm not changing path. If you wanted to change, you can change the path. and it is 64-bit launcher, and obviously we need to have some desktop shortcut. Please add it. Click on next. Click on next. So wait until it installs. So it's almost installed. Yes. So you can select here, or let's see, is there any desktop shortcut created, because we have selected a checkbox over there. Yes, a desktop shortcut has been created. So let us go by that. So I'm opening it. Where is that? Yes. So it shows us, it shows me, if we have installed earlier or uninstalled, and I can able to specify that installation folder. I can do many things. I'm selecting import settings. Do not import settings. So I like to work with light theme instead of dark, so that will be easy for me. And you don't need to worry about next feature plugins, all these things. You can actually click on skip and remaining set defaults, something like that. Click remaining and set defaults. That's it. So I'm creating a project, new project. So I'll specify, I'll create a new folder here, and then I'll create a new project. So let's say I'm creating a project on desktop. So we'll specify, so we'll desktop DDDD after dot, yes. So in desktop, I wanted to create a new folder, right? So I will specify Python Shiny. I will specify that and click on OK. So it shows me that it's not there. So I have to create a folder on the desktop, right? So I will specify, I'll select it, and then I'll create a new folder with the name of Python Shiny, and will specify it. Okay, so a new folder got created. Click on OK. So now you can do two things. One is, you can create a virtual environment. That is one thing. And second one is, you can also specify existing interpreter. That means, so we have already installed Python. You can specify that Python as well. That is possible, right? Or you can even specify virtual environment. Anything is fine. So for now, what I'm doing is I will just specify, virtual environment. In future, you will understand the difference between specifying the virtual environment and specifying the existing interpreter. In future, you will understand anyway, right? And click on create. It's going to create you a virtual environment. Click on create. So wait for it. It will create virtual environment. So it shows steps, and I don't want it. Click on those. Wait for it. So once it creates virtual environment within project folder, you will see that virtual env folder. So you can able to work with the version of the Python you wanted to work. So though you have installed some different version of Python in the global machine, in global level. So with respect to this project, you can work with a specific version of the Python. So that kind of things possible once you started using virtual environment. So it's automatically using pip. Pip means Python and installation packages. So the packages and all we can able to install with Python, or the modules, whatever you say, we can able to install with pip. So it is uninstalled and installing the latest version of pip. So it gives a message that Windows Defender might be impacting. Okay, fine, fix it. It's over. Yeah. So wait for it. Everything is completed, and discovering burning module, everything is fine. Yeah. is done. Let's expand this folder. This is the project folder. As I told you, it created virtual env folder. Okay, no need to worry about it. Let us create a simple file, Python file here, something like demo dot. So I don't need to specify py because we are by default creating Python file. So if you are creating file, so there you have to specify .py, but it is by default Python file. So it is automatically it will automatically give the extension that is .py. Enter. So it's over. So let's print it. Print, and as usual, in our education days, writing this program is an achievement. So how to run it? So right click and run it, or else you have the run button here. So anything is fine. So it should print hello. Yes, it is working. Right. So that's it. Very simple. And if you wanted to configure any interpreter kind of thing, file, if at all, if you wanted to change after creating project, I don't want virtual environment. Okay, fine, that is still possible. You have to go to settings, and the project, you have a project interpreter. So it is by default using your project interpreter. Project interpreter is, so you have internally within the project level you have it. So if you wanted to change, yes, you can still change it by go to settings. So I don't want project interpreter. I wanted to have the global interpreter. Yes, you can use that system interpreter, whatever you have created. So instead of local interpreter means this is project level. You can see the folder structure over there. Desktop, Python training, virtual environment, script, Python.exe. Right. So this is the local project environment. Right. If you wanted to use the global one, and you can specify that, so you can work with that global environment. And if you are using global environment, you can actually remove this virtual environment, no problem at all. So that's it. So this is about configuring Python and PyCharm in local machine, right? And let us see how to configure Python to practice in cloud. So what is the advantage here is you can write program in GitHub, and you can execute that to others, or you can even have an online IDE, so that you can practice from anywhere. So you don't need to worry about installing Python in your local machine. You can practice anywhere by just accessing a URL. So let's see that one as well, how to do this. The first thing, go to GitHub and click on sign up. So give your username, email address. So you can choose any username. So let's say I'm taking some Sudhakar automation. So I've already created. So Sudhakar automation, I've already created that, right? So something like this, I'm taking Sudhakar test automation, and I'm going to give some email, and then finally it will ask us to please solve puzzle, right? A lot of people get confused at puzzle. It's simple. All you have to do is make sure this is in the right direction. Right direction means, so this is the right direction. So I can specify that, right? Like this is the right direction. So like that you can able to specify if it is in upwards or downwards, and make sure it is in the right direction. That's it. And click on create account. Once you give username, password, click on create account. That will send an activation mail to your mail ID. So you need to activate that. You need to verify that by clicking verify email address, something like that you have to do, right? So once you do that, so fine, you can sign into GitHub. So my user ID is Sudhakar automation, that's we have created. Password. So the next thing, so if by default created a repository, and if you have not created a repository, here you will get a create repository button. So no problem. You can click on new repository here, or you can click on new repository here. Anything is okay, fine, no issue. So I'm clicking on new repository. So I'll specify this is a demo test or Python training repository, Python training repository, or Python training project. So you can specify anything. So you can treat this as a project folder, or that's your wish. Okay, let's say this I'm treating as a project folder. Okay, fine. So click on repository, create repository, and you can create a new file here, or you can create a new file in the folder, after creating IDE. So that's your wish. So I'm not doing anything here. I'll just use a URL. So let me go walk through some steps over here as well. So I've created GitHub account. I've created, went to all this and then logged into GitHub and verified our account, and that's also completed. And create repository as it is completed, and I have to go to GitPod. All I have to do is, and if you observe, so GitHub / my username / the repository name that I've created, and you can see that GitHub / username / repository name. Fine. So all I have to do is just I have to prefix this before this URL. I have to prefix this one. So let us prefix it. This is the URL, and before that I'm giving https gitpod.io /hash. That's it, nothing else. Enter. So once you do that, it is going to automatically configure the cloud IDE. So by default, it configures with VS Code, and as you know that Microsoft acquires this GitHub, right? So GitHub is by Microsoft now. So they have given VS Code. VS Code is an IDE. VS Code is an IDE for all languages, not just only for Python. It's for all languages. So PyCharm is especially for Python, but when it comes to VS Code, that's for all languages, for Java, for C#, for Python, for JavaScript, for many languages, right? Almost all languages, I can say. So now this IDE has been created. I wanted to use this IDE for Python. By default, VS Code is configured with built-in add-ons, so no need to worry about all this, right? It's already configured with all these add-ons, right? So even Python also is there inside of this. Python also is there inside of this, right? You can see this Python. So what it does? No need to install anything. I'm just showing you. You can able to create a new file. Different languages will have different file extensions. Let's say if you are creating Java, that will be .java, right? C#, CS.cs, and Python.py, JavaScript.js, like that. So depends on what file you create here. The project automatically gets configured with that particular language. So I'm creating Python file demo.py, and you can observe here what will happen when we create that demo.py here. Click on OK. So Python is created, and what is it showing? Python extension is loading, right? So it is by default working with the environment, and you have a feature that is, let's say I wanted to work with the latest version of Python. It is by default configured with latest version. You have the feature that is, I wanted to work with Python 2, or I wanted to work with 3.8.2, like that. You can specify whatever the version you wanted to work with, right? But by default it works with. So now let us write some statements. Yes, it is also giving you all the features that you get from PyCharm, and of course there will be some extra work will be there, obviously, when you're practicing with VS Code in future, not now, when we create modules, all this stuff, because VS Code is not specially designed for Python. PyCharm is specially designed for Python, but VS Code is not specially designed for Python. Because of that, there are some settings are required. In future, you will come to know based on the experience. You will start exploring that as well. No need to worry about it. And you have all the workarounds available. And the print, and you can specify as usual hello world or like that. Save it. Control S, the as usual shortcuts will work. And you can see run button. Yes, you can click on it. So it executes commands. So saying that workspace, Python training, something like that. So here I've created demo.py, but do remember that will not get updated in GitHub. Where is the GitHub I've created? GitHub.com. So here, this is the repository I've created, but nothing got updated. I've created something, but nothing got updated. Right? So in order to make it update, you have to commit all these files. You have to commit all these files, right? So you have all this. That if you once you discuss about committing all GitHub features, so you will understand that. But for now, you can specify something like that and commit. No commit changes, and I've already added changes. Yes, I need to make sure it is getting added, right? So I need to make sure that gets updated. So this is what is committed, right? And so it's already committed in the repository, right? Where is that? And let us see. Oh, it's not pushed to the here, right? I should also push it. Right, I'm going to push it, but I think we will not be having permissions to do it. We'll have to do some other activity as well. Is it pushed? I think it is. Okay, before I've already given those permissions to this user ID. I'll show you what of those permissions, right? I'll show you what of those permissions. Here it got pushed, and then you can see this. So what those permissions? I've already given those permissions. That's why it's not asking me, and it is not showing me error as well. So to see those permissions, all you have to do is you can see this. There is something called open access control. So here you will have it, open access control, right? Go to that access control. In access control, here you have to select it. Now write public repositories. You have to select it. By default, it will be disabled, unchecked. Okay, you need to check it and then click on update so that you can update the repositories. That's possible, and you can even select private repositories. The private repositories and public repositories are there. When we have created, it will ask us that whether you wanted to create a private repository or public repository, something like that. It will ask us, right? So that setting you can specify here and then click on update. That's it. So once this setting is there, you can able to update or do modification, whatever you want. That is possible from here. Right. So this is how you can able to configure. This is how you can able to configure Python, PyCharm, and Cloud VS Code. So everything. So the advantage of practicing. Sorry, the advantage of configuring Cloud is. So now this is the URL. You can practice from anywhere. So go to gitpod.com. So now go to gitpod.com. Gitpod. So this is what you have. I will close this one. And for now, I will close this one. Where is that? Yeah, here. I'm closing it. Right? I will stop workspace and I'm closing it. So it's asking me stopping and what you wanted to see, view on GitHub. So like that. If you say view on GitHub, it is going to navigate to GitHub. That's what it shows. Right? I'm stopping it. So now I'll close all this. Okay. So when you go to gitpod.io, that's by default it is showing you workspaces. So what workspaces? Whatever I have created, right? All these things I can see here. So I don't need to go to GitHub and then change the URL now. I can simply go here and then open here, like click on start. It will start it. It will start the workspace. So now you can practice. You can do whatever you want from this URL. This is a little bit slower. You can observe that this is a little bit slower. And if you have this Chrome extension, this is GitPod Chrome extension. If you have it, this will become faster. So this is the thing I've already added. So now let's see. So I will stop it. Stop workspace. So workspace. So it did not go there. Okay, directly it is starting. So there is nothing. So it's not finding it. Now, okay. Let me come to this place again and then refresh it. I refreshed. So now, okay. So here it shows open because I've already started. Say start. Okay. Start. Wait for it. That should change the status to restart. Yes, start. Now we have it. So it should be faster. It's directly saying starting and then initializing. So I've installed browser extension. It is not finding. Okay, fine. So probably if I restart the browser, it may identify that. For one-click experience, something like that it shows. Right. So this is it. Yes, I've starting, and yes, it is still showing that. Okay, fine. This is it. So I don't see any advantage other than one-click experience, right? So one-click experience means it will directly open. That's it. So any doubts, please comment. Thank you. Thanks for watching.